from your perspective, what is personal branding? How would you define it?
Okay. So for me, personal branding is essentially taking what you are curious about, what you have a skill in, and applying a certain style of what it is that you like. So an example of that, right, would be for me, the way I see my own personal brand is, well, there's this section of my life where I do Salesforce. Okay, there's a skill over here. There's something I can help somebody out with. So that's definitely a pillar of it. Then I have these two other pillars, which are, well, I still have interests. I have things outside of that skill that I would be interested in, things that I do, different takes on things, experiences I've had. And then same thing with like your aesthetic or your style. Kind of the same thing, right? Which is, okay, how would I approach a certain problem? How would I, attack this? How do I talk to people? What's my tone? What's my personality like? And I think it's a mix between those three things. And it's almost like if you think of like a Venn diagram, right? Where if you have all three of those come together and you're really just trying to hone in on the circle of all those, that's more or less what I view a personal brand as. It's taking all those things that make you who you are and then taking the time to share those with other people. So for me, I see that as, okay, I know Salesforce. At the same time, I enjoy things like philosophy. I enjoy things that are kind of around like growth mindset. And then I have this very other like curiosity or style of different, graphic design and the way that I would approach it and the way that I see things, and kind of focusing in on like the visual side of it. And so combination of those three things are what make up my personal brand. And what I try to do with that is just share the way that I would attack some type of problem. And especially here, like Trailblazers, that ends up being a lot of the time, hey, this is what's worked for me well in the Trailblazer community. This is how I've approached it. This is how I've, been able to get promoted. This is how I've been able to learn. This is how I've been able to get certifications, whatever it might be. But the main point of a personal brand, if all of that just kind of sounded like garbage to you, if anything else you take away, I would just say you kind of have two ways to look at a personal brand, which is you have your time, which is really valuable, and we all want to do certain things with our time. When you think of terms Salesforce related, and if this is just purely to get ahead in the Salesforce world, you basically have two options in life. You can choose to create a product and you can choose to put out media. Those two things are what are going to scale without your time. So when you spend time today, when I spend time today to post something on LinkedIn, sure, that took a little bit of time. But the cool part is that that's going to be on the internet forever. So it's very similar to what David's doing here on YouTube. Anybody can go after this recording. We can go and find it. And it's working for David afterwards. And that's kind of the point of a personal brand. If your sole reason is just to get ahead in the Salesforce industry, think of it that way. Whereas you're not going to have enough time to continuously do all these little things. But by creating a personal brand, you will be able to, because it works without you being there.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate a couple of things about what you said. The fact that it works when you're not there. Collectively, all the products or the media that you've created continue to provide value, and so that adds up to your brand. But also, I really like the fact that in defining your brand, you're basically saying, hey, you're providing value to your professional community, and then you're wrapping that value in the style that is you. So your personal brand obviously should be unique. And you mentioned that you like, philosophy, and you take that philosophy and your other interest areas, you wrap that around the pillars that you talked about, and that provides the uniqueness, and that is what makes your brand yours. That's really, it's an interesting take on it that I hadn't heard, but agree 100%.
Yeah. And real quick before Adam jumps in, one last thing I wanted to say on that is, when you guys are creating like a personal brand, if you think of all three of us that are on this call right now, Adam, David, and myself, I view it as, just like David said, it's super unique to who you are. And the more that you lean into who you are, the more you realize there's actually not a competition. David, Adam, myself, we're all trying to do something to help others. And maybe along the way, we decide we want to launch something to create more money for ourselves or whatever. Okay, well, the crowd that David is going to gather versus my crowd is completely different, because he has this whole other life and experience of being in the military. And that speaks to those types of people, right? And those are the people that tend to follow a lot of what David's doing. And that's great because he has that experience to talk to. And I'm just trying to do the same thing with my own experiences and what I'm interested in and trying to gather those people. So just like you said, David, I just want to hurry and throw that in there that, yeah, once you realize that there's no real competition, and that helps you stand out for jobs and how to get ahead in general in your career, I think.
Yeah, for sure. To the other Jordan's point in chat, there is enough cake for everyone. So enjoy the cake. Adam, over to you.
Yeah, I was literally gonna segue to the why, and Jordan started that. So, you know, for me, I'm a veteran, I guess, in the industry, and you know, the Salesforce industry, if you haven't really experienced before, it's full of people giving back, and you don't have to be an expert to give back. You know something that someone else doesn't know, and as soon as you learn it, you can share it. I didn't set out, I guess my journey is a little bit different. I didn't set out to create, you know, a personal brand per se. It was just out of giving back to the community. Like Jordan, I just happened to be good at this thing, and so I've learned over the last 5, 6, 7 years through personal brand, through having it polished, you can help more people with their particular journey, and help more people be successful. So to Jordan's points as well, you know, you do post about particular things, and your followers do want to hear those things. So for myself, as David mentioned, I post about DevOps. I post about architecture. So anything to do with architects, the developer information, aspiring trailblazers. So, you know, I'm here to help you either, you know, get a job in the market, tips and tricks on getting a job, or helping out with your personal brand, or, you know, teaching you about the ecosystem. What's an SI, what's Salesforce, what's a customer, what's an admin, what's a developer. So it's just my vehicle for helping out the masses, similar to this is David's vehicle for helping out the masses as well. And so you don't have to be an expert. You'll always know something that someone else doesn't know. And when you share it, I think Rebecca Alkai's, you know, on a podcast with Mia Pacey, you know, Life with Golden Hoodie, put it really well the other day. And that was, if you can touch one person, if you can make a difference in one person, well, I mean, then that's just, you know, that's the point of it, right? So just helping others.